Christ. She's going to tell you about how to write a book, about writing a controversial book. And if anybody knows, and I believe we're all here that are Christians, that saying we don't believe in Halloween is controversial to some people.
That's right.
So I'm going to invite Linda. Linda, I would have never dreamed in my life that I would be reading the author. This is the old version, but she made a new version. But the old version is special to me because I had it all those years, and now I can meet the hand who wrote it. You don't know who your book is going to get in the hands of.
That's right.
God says just do it.
That's right. Do it.
And let Him do the increase. Amen. Linda.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. I never thought I'd be here either. They didn't change the content of the book. They just changed the cover. And it started out looking like this. I self-published for 2 years before going national. And then they turned it into this book. And then now today it is in 4 different languages: English, Italian, Spanish, and I'm part Italian, and my grandparents were from Czechoslovakia, and it's now in the Czech Republic. Well, I got a call from somebody in Czechoslovakia and wanted to know if they could publish my book in their language. And I said, gee, I always wanted to go to the country of my ancestors, but my books got there first. I wrote the book over 20 years ago. I was a new Christian. I was raised in the Catholic Church. I'm the only one of my mother's children who married a Catholic, and we left. And I became what my family referred to as a holy roller. I went to a non-denominational church where they praised the Lord and raised their hands and rolled down the aisle. And I know my father's funeral, when the priest met me, he said, "You must be Linda." And I said, "I bet you heard a lot about me in confession." And he said, "Yes, your father was very concerned." And he really did hear about me in confession. But you know, every family has a black sheep, and I think I was the black sheep. And every family gets one, and I have one. But I wrote this book because as a little girl in the Catholic school where I was raised, we were not allowed to celebrate Halloween after we made our first communion. And I remember thinking, you know, I was allowed to do a lot of things till I made my first communion, and maybe I shouldn't have done that. You know, before I could hit my sisters or tell a lie and go trick-or-treating, and it wasn't a problem. But once you made your first communion, they still had a party, but you couldn't dress in costume. Well, I remember when we went to this new church, someone said to me, "Well, your children really shouldn't be celebrating Halloween." And I said, "You know what? I know I'm not supposed to smoke, drink, swear, beat my husband, beat my children, but Halloween's something God's just going to have to deal with me later, because right now it's not a problem." And about 5 years later, it's like God tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Are you ready to give it up?" And I thought, sure, why not? I lived out in the middle of the country. I don't even have any neighbors. My kids rode the public school bus to Christian school, and when they got on the bus, the kids started to talk about Halloween, and somebody said, "What are you all going to celebrate? You know, dress up for Halloween?" And my girl said, "We don't celebrate Halloween." And somebody said, "What? You never went trick-or-treating?" And my girl said, "No." And they said, "You mean you never went for candy?" I mean, they started to talk about it on the bus, and before you know it, everybody's laughing and talking, and my girls got home and said, "Mom, just drive us to school till Christmas." Well, I knew I couldn't do that, so I went to a bookstore and found out no one had ever written a book for children. There was adult literature out there, but there was nothing for kids, and I kind of went crazy at the store and said, "What do you mean nobody ever wrote a book for kids? I've been going to this church for so many years." You know, you know how those ladies are in that Christian bookstore. They're so sweet and quiet. They just look at you, and I know they're going to talk about me in church on Sunday. And I told her, "Here's my name and number. If you get a book, call me." They never called. Well, for a couple years, we struggled with this issue. First day of school, second year, got on the bus, and they're like, "Here comes those kids that don't celebrate Halloween, woo!" And they said, "Mom, they're starting already." So I talked to a lot of my friends and tried to convince them to sell. You know, one girl did a Halloween alternative so that when you pulled your kids out of public school so they wouldn't celebrate the holiday, they could go and play at a place like Chuck E. Cheese or one of those little places where kids go and have fun. So I tried to get her to write the book, and she said, I know what God's told me to do, but I think He's trying to tell you to write the book.